Danny, you wanted to talk about a possible walkaway point for Terry McLaurin.
So here's the question. We always do these sorts of things, and it probably does get worked out. He's such a core member of this team, is cut across a couple different regimes to this point. It's been hyper-productive. Last year, best year of his career. Here's my question. What if Terry McLaurin's camp goes, CeeDee Lamb, who we've been just as productive as if you average over the last couple of seasons because he's had some injuries, or DK Metcalf just got X, or Amon-Ra St. Brown just got Y, or look at what T. Higgins just signed for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Aren't we entitled to be ahead of some of those guys? What's the walkaway point? What's the point where you would say, if you're the team, you know what, Terry, we actually can't do that. We'd like to have you. I don't think there's any ill will at this stage. And again, I'm guessing that it works out. But it's not just you get to write an infinite check. It's not just we go, okay, the entire salary cap is yours. At what point would you be able to say, you know what, Terry, we can't do that? That's something I'm curious about. I always wonder what that kind of thing is. Because again, I would imagine everybody's got goodwill here, and the player, the agent, the org, Josh Harris, Adam Peters, Lance Newmark, and everybody, calmer heads will prevail. But what's the walkaway point where you would say, you know what, Terry, we got to go in a different direction?
We could take calls on that right now at 800-636-1067, 800-636-1067. I've unofficially, just quick look at the list here, got him about 17th in AAV in the NFL right now at $23.2 million.
Yeah, just behind Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, DJ Moore, slotted behind those guys.
Deebo Samuel, his own teammate, $23.8 million per year.
Yeah.
Makes a little bit more than him, so he's now the second highest paid wide receiver, in quotes, because Deebo's kind of a dual offensive piece and a weapon. But on his own locker room, he's no longer the highest paid receiver. So it stands to reason he wants money. He wants to be paid. This guy wants an extension, and I think he will not come to practices to make sure that he gets the money. That's just the leverage you have as a player. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll never behoove a guy who doesn't show up, who's in a contract dispute, and he's the next on the list in the NFL whose time has come and he's ready to get paid. And by the way, he earned it last year. I mean, what an amazing season he had. Like, it's easy after several months in an offseason to forget, Danny. He was dynamic.
Yep.
Start to finish. He won them games, the huge catches over and over again against the Bengals, just putting the team on his back late with big touchdowns to beat the Cowboys. And he just had one big catch after another. Kept them in some losses against the Ravens, I remember, corner end zone. They isolated him in the red zone. They said, go get it. And he had 13 touchdowns. They put more on his plate. He ate more.
Yep.
So he deserves to be paid. What is the hit the wall number? Are you asking from a contract standpoint, AAV? Like, how much before you say, I got an issue with that?
That's part of it. I mean, there's got to be a point in any negotiation, right? Like, let's say you and I are the most valuable employees this station has ever had, and they love us, and we want to keep us for a long time.
I like this.
Isn't this great? And we go in there and we go, let's give us $30 million a piece. They'd go, well, that's too much, right? That's too high. Even though we think you're great and we love you so much and you've done everything right here. There's got to be a point where you say no. And I wonder what that is. That whether that's years, whether it's guaranteed, whether it's, we can do it as simple as AAV because that's how, simpletons like myself can boil down contracts and sort of transit what NFL contracts are.
What other way would there even be to do it? Right? I mean, the overall number doesn't matter. I mean, so the annual average value, is it the guaranteed number?
Could be. If people want to get sophisticated. But yeah, so if I'm McLaurin and Company, for example, I'll go, over the last 3 years, I've put up around 3,300 yards. T. Higgins, who I'm 1,000 yards more than in terms of productivity, just got paid $28+ million AAV. I need to be slotted over that. Is that the best thing for the team right now?
All right, so two things. Number one, I would say to Terry McLaurin in this hypothetical, if I'm Adam Peters, you're right. That is what T. Higgins got, and he's 26 years old, and you're about to be 30. So he got a longer contract, maybe than I'd like to give you, and he got a lot of money because his best days are probably still ahead of him. Prime of the career in that 26 to 30 range at the wide receiver position, probably. But I'm going to play along here. So prefaced with this, I don't think this is reality. I think they're going to get a deal done pretty easily. He wants to be here. They want him here. It just hasn't happened yet because it's not the time of the year where they get these things done, which is right around training camp. And I have no reservations about a Terry McLaurin contract happening. I think it'll be the easiest thing for them to pull off. But just because you've asked, I'm going to answer the question and play along. What number would he demand that I would say no to? $35 million's too much. He wouldn't ask for that. So Jamar Chase makes 40. Okay. Justin Jefferson makes 35.
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb makes 34. If he said, I want to be paid like CeeDee Lamb, 34 mil. No, not doing that. Over like a 3-year deal, probably, right? That's what we're talking about. Maybe a 4-year deal where the first 2.5 are guaranteed or something. I'm not doing 34. I think he's entitled to $30 million a year. Look at the guys that make $30 million right now. It's Tyreek Hill, who had a down year last year and is as old as McLaurin. It's Brandon Ayuk, who didn't deliver the goods to the extent last year that was expected.
Mm-hmm.
McLaurin's got a better resume than Brandon Ayuk does. As you said, T. Higgins is a $29 million guy. Terry's got better numbers. Now he's younger. Waddle makes 29. I think this is the range. He's probably going to ask for 30, 31 mil. They're going to want to pay him closer to 25, 26 mil. And I think he's probably going to make about 27 to 28 mil. It'll settle in that 27 and a half, like what DJ Moore signed for in his extension. Devontae Smith makes 25 million. He's going to want more than that on his next. Nico Collins somehow, he's only making 24.
Only got 24, yeah.
But I think Terry's going to want something that starts with a 3. They're going to say, no, thank you. And then you compromise. And I bet it's around 27. But I would pay him like $260 if I had to do that. You know, it'd be a much larger contract with fake money that he never sees, and you could push some of the money into future years. But guarantee him like $60 million. I wouldn't have a problem with that. That would be my ceiling. So anything above that, I guess, would be my hit the wall. Sorry, buddy, but I love you. You love me. You got to play for cheaper than that.
It'd be hard for me to go north of 30 if it was, sort of really designed to be a 3 or 4 year deal. Right? Like I could do a 30 if there were off ramps after year number 2 and renegotiation options or things like that. But it's hard for me to pay a guy that's going to be 30 years old. Like would you sign Tyreek Hill to that deal today? You wouldn't, right? Because Hill signed that, I think, in I guess it was 24, he signed that extension. All of a sudden, it doesn't look as good. Now, maybe he has a bounce back here because he's still fast as hell and the like. But guys that are turning that age, usually you're starting on the downturn. And it wasn't as if he was more explosive. The volume was there. The touchdowns were certainly there. But I don't know. It's one of those things where we all assume it's going to get done. I think it will, right? Because every reason you mentioned. But this stuff like that always fascinates me. And I'm more interested in, I think, than most people are. But I always kind of wonder where he would be justified, kind of to the point that you and I think are both making, going, there are guys whose AAV and overall money is a lot more than me that I've just simply been better than. And they're not the dude that I am in their locker room. I'm here. I am the success story. I am the example. I am the person. When you have a young player that comes to the team, you go, follow around 17, do what he does, and you'll have a great chance to make this club, right? That's worth something to you. So I wonder what the walkaway point is. That's all. That's my question.
Let's go to Joel in Falls Church on Grant and Danny. What's up, Joel? How are you?
I'm good, guys. How are you guys doing?
Good, buddy.
Well.
Happy long weekend.
You too.
So, to the point Danny just made, he's the face of the franchise. Obviously, Jaden's going to take that this year if he hasn't already. And so I say it's franchise tag money. So what's the average of the top 5 guys? McLaurin's a clear wide receiver 1, not the best in the league, but deserves his kudos, his flowers. He's our guy. Pay him a little bit more because he's our guy. What's the average of the top 5 guys? That's what Terry gets.
So the only problem with that is, and I appreciate the call, generally that's not going to work because he could just say no, and then you have to tag him, and he gets guaranteed the tag number in the first year. So you have to, that's where the negotiation starts. That's like the floor when you're signing an extension as a player who is good enough that you'd get tagged instead of walk. And the tag number in 25 at the receiver position, by the way, was 24 million.
So this year, coming year, it's projected to be around 28.
Which is exactly where I think you're going to end up slotting him in. But the point is, he's going to make that because if he doesn't do anything, then you just have to tag him and keep him at 1 year and 28 million. And it's the Cousins thing all over again, where you're readying me for that. And then I still get to double dip and hit the market next year. Now, in his case, he's got to think about his age a little bit too. Because again, he's not 27. He's going to be 30 this football season, which is older than you kind of think for Terry McLaurin. But he was I think he was like a 26-year-old.
Yeah, I think he came in the league at 24, 25.
Second year, he was like one of those 24-year-old rookies or something. So it's important, though, to pay him and to keep him around. There's an added tax that comes with, all their rhetoric and all the shtick of the brotherhood and, our guys, and he's a commander, and the commander tag, and the commander Lorien, and the commander of the infantry, and all the crap that they do with the blue label 4-star commander. You gotta keep Mr. Commander. I mean, you can't, when it's his turn to get paid, you can't go, you have been the face of this thing.
You've been great.
You've done everything off the field that we've ever asked of you and more. You've done everything on the field that we've ever asked of you and more. And nobody better represents what we want our organization to be moving forward. But also, we're not going to give you $30 million.
Yeah, anyways, best of luck to you.
Or whatever it is. So I just think it happens for that reason. And if it takes 30, then it takes 30. But I think you could get it done for a little bit less. I just have a hard time believing, like the last time he signed for a tad less than I thought he was going to. He probably could have made more noise, rattled, and been more of a pain in the butt and squeaky wheel and got a little more cash. And he elected not to do that.
So when he got paid last time, remember the conversation was, well, he set himself up to get paid again. It was a shorter deal because he's in that weird age window.
Yep.
Because he played all 4 years in college. So, like, I look at the DK Metcalf number. That's where I start. I'm better than DK, draft classmate. Like,
what's DK's number right now?
33, rather, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. Good luck with that. Now, as I said, that's the kind of thinking he and his agent are going to be doing. But if you're Washington, and maybe they end up going, we don't have a choice. He's the one guy that you have to, whatever it takes, you got to take care of, because there's only one of those in your building. He has been here doing it the right way the longest.
Like we rented a Bobby Wagner. That's
Exactly.
our Bobby Wagner. That's our homegrown Bobby Wagner.
Correct.
Yeah.
And by the way, you pay a little more for Bobby Wagner maybe than you should because of all the stuff that comes with Bobby Wagner. So like maybe you go, all right, we're going to pay him $28 million, but there's a $5 million tax for him being the lieutenant commander. And if that's how you got to talk yourself into it. Again, I preface this by saying he's never going to not play here, or certainly not on the next contract. They will get it done. So if it turns out that it has to be 33, then they'll pay him that. I would just be surprised if it was that high. That is like a $10 million jump for him. A few years
coming off that career year,
older.
Yeah, I mean, so he's 113 yards shy of joining the top 5 in franchise history in receiving yards already as it is. He's around, I'd say 1,400 yards shy of Santana Moss for 4th all-time in receiving yards, something that's very reachable if he's here for another couple of seasons. He could very well finish towards the top of these franchise lists, Ring of Honor type stuff, right? That's the kind of track that he's on. And all he's ever done is the right stuff. So that's kind of my point here is you may have to go, our sensibility in general is to not overpay for stuff. We haven't done that. We haven't overextended ourselves in terms of dollars or years. And if we do go high dollar, it's for short term. We could deal with that. There may be special cases. This might be one of those special cases where he's worth more to you than he would be in the open market.
I mean, the DK Metcalf comp is a good one by Linnell. And that's now established the market, so it's going to be a major factor. I think maybe what you could do is you could say, okay, DK got 4 years and 150 mil. I'm going to offer you 4 years and 122 mil or something, a little over 30 million. But instead of the 60 million he got, maybe you go to 70 million or something where
for the guarantees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For the guaranteed money. So you go, he got guaranteed 60 overall that whole contract. 90 of it wasn't guaranteed. I'm going to guarantee you the first 2+ seasons. So you're going to get 60 over the first couple of years, whatever that looks like.
Interesting.
I'm going to guarantee you a good part of the 3rd year. I mean, if you can tweak some of those numbers, maybe you can make it work.
You get the 3rd most guaranteed money of all time behind Jefferson and Chase. Something like that.
Let's go to Elijah in D.C. What's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey,
hopefully this thing passes. I hate when I call in and EMS is passing. But, man, I love Terry. And I was talking to Linnell a second ago. Yes, you want to pay Terry I think you just brought up the commander tax and what he means to the franchise and what you're trying to show other guys. But what the one problem the one drawback I do have is we didn't draft, this new regime didn't draft him. And that's not to take anything away from this man at all. I fear, or sometimes I feel that in Washington sports, because we haven't been able to be in situations where we have to make tough decisions to get to the Super Bowl. We just haven't been in that type of situation. And we love our players. We love the jersey. And we're so in love with the players that I think we don't do well with the idea of sacrifice in order to get to the next tier.
So I agree with that. I think it's an awesome call.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We're keeping it moving, but I think it's a great call. The only pushback I would have is, number one, this is not the typical version of fans overvaluing someone. This isn't like being infatuated with, a average tight end who catches 40 balls a year, or Brian Robinson who averages 3.7 yards per carry or something. This is Terry McLaurin. This is a different beast and animal altogether. And the other thing is, again, culture. Like you cannot, in good faith, do the Brotherhood commander label, commander tag. He's a commander. We drafted 4 commander labels. It's all commander tags. And then in that locker room, you go, by the way, guys, we didn't pay Terry McLaurin. He's going to be on the Bills this year. But let's be commanders. Let's all be. And they're like, the commander
The guy
was just due to be paid. You didn't pay him. You just can't operate that way.